I live alone, and I always lock my front door. Every night, deadbolt, chain, handle, twice. It's a habit, because once you live alone long enough, you start paying attention to small things, small sounds, small changes, things that shouldn't move. Last Thursday at 3:14 a.m., I woke up and something in my apartment was different. My bedroom door was open. I always sleep with it closed. Always. Because from my bed, I can see straight into the hallway. And that night, the hallway light was on. I never leave that light on. Ever. And I remember something clearly. Before I went to sleep, I pushed that door closed. Hard. Until the latch clicked. At first, I thought maybe I forgot. Maybe I didn't push it fully closed. Maybe it drifted open. But that door doesn't drift. It sticks. You have to push it. So I stayed in bed, listening, waiting for something normal. The refrigerator, the pipes in the walls, someone walking upstairs, anything. But there was nothing. No footsteps, no movement. Just the hallway light pouring into my room. And the door, wide open. I checked my phone. 3:14 a.m. No notifications, no calls, no alarms. Nothing unusual, except the door, and the light, and the strange feeling that something had changed while I was asleep. I sat up slowly, and that's when I noticed something else. The air felt colder. Not like a window draft. Like a door had been open. The front door. My bedroom is at the end of the hallway. If someone opened the front door, they would have had to walk past my room, and the floorboards creak. Every step. I would have heard it. I whispered into the dark. Hello? Nothing answered. But the hallway light flickered. Just once. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The hallway looked normal. Pictures on the wall. Shoes near the entrance. Nothing knocked over. Nothing moved. The front door was closed. Locked. Deadbolt still turned. Chains still in place. But the handle was slightly angled downward, like someone had just let go of it. I stared at it for a while, waiting for it to move again. It didn't. I checked the bathroom. Empty. Kitchen, empty. Closet, empty. Every room, nothing. No one. No sign anyone had been there. Eventually, I convinced myself of the only explanation that made sense. I must have left the bedroom door open, even though I knew I didn't. The next night, I decided to test it. Before bed, I closed the bedroom door, pressed it hard until I heard the latch click. Then I recorded it on my phone, just in case. I placed the phone on the nightstand, camera facing the door. Then I turned off the lights and waited. I must have fallen asleep eventually, because when I opened my eyes again, my phone screen said 3:14 a.m. and the hallway light was on. The door was open again. But this time, something was different. The door wasn't fully open, and it wasn't against the wall. It was only slightly open, just enough space for someone to stand behind it, watching. I didn't move. I didn't reach for the flashlight, because if someone was there, they would know I was awake. So I stayed still, pretending to sleep, watching the gap in the doorway. Then the door moved, slowly, not suddenly, Not like it was pushed, just movement. 1 inch, maybe less. So slow, I almost thought I imagined it. There was no sound. No creak. No hinge noise. Nothing. Just the door changing position. Like something behind it was applying the smallest amount of pressure. Carefully, testing it. I couldn't see anyone. The hallway looked empty, but the light in the hallway was different now. It wasn't shining into my room the same way. Something was interrupting it, blocking part of it, at shoulder height. Not a full shadow, not a person-shaped silhouette, just a distortion, like the light was bending around something. Something standing directly behind the door, close enough that I couldn't see it, but close enough to change the light. I stopped breathing completely, because if someone was standing there, I didn't want them to hear me. The hallway light flickered. Once, then again. Just a quick pulse, like the bulb was struggling, or like something moved slightly in front of it. The door shifted again. Barely. Another inch. Still no sound, no footsteps, no breathing. Just that slow movement. And then it stopped. For a few seconds, nothing happened. The door stayed half open. The hallway light stayed on. The shape in the light didn't move, and then the door began to move again. But this time, the other direction. Slowly. Closing, not slamming, not pushed, just slowly returning. Like someone on the other side had changed their mind. The gap became smaller, then smaller, until only a thin line of hallway light remained. And then, the latch clicked. Soft, but unmistakable. The door was closed again. The hallway light disappeared. My room went completely dark, and the apartment was silent again. I didn't sleep after that. Not even for a minute. I stayed awake until morning, just staring at the door, waiting to hear something, anything. But nothing happened. When the sun finally came up, the apartment looked completely normal again. Like nothing had happened. The hallway light was off, the door was closed. Exactly the way it had been when I went to sleep. But I remembered something. Before I went to bed that night, I had placed my phone on the nightstand, camera facing the door, recording, just in case. So the first thing I did that morning was check the video. The recording starts exactly where I remembered. You can see me closing the bedroom door, pushing it hard, until the latch clicks. You can even hear the sound clearly. The door is fully closed. Then I turn off the light. The room goes dark, and the camera keeps recording. Minutes pass, then an hour. Nothing changes. The door stays closed. Exactly the same position. Then the timestamp appears. 3:14 a.m. that moment. The moment I woke up, I expected to see the door opening, even just a little, but it didn't, not even slightly. On the recording, the door never moves. It stays closed the entire time. The gap never appears. The hallway light never shines through. Nothing. The door remains completely still, exactly the same position from the moment I closed it. But something else changes. The audio. At first, it's just silence. Then the sound shifts, very slightly, like the microphone picked up something new. A sound that wasn't there before. Breathing, very faint, barely audible, but definitely breathing. Slow, steady, calm, and very close to the microphone. Too close to be coming from the hallway. Too close to be anywhere outside the room. The sound was coming from inside my bedroom, near the phone, near the bed, near me. And the strangest part, I never heard it that night. Not once. Not while I was lying there. Not while the door was moving. Not while the hallway light flickered. But the phone did. It recorded everything. Every second, and the breathing wasn't mine. Tonight I changed something. I moved the phone. Not on the nightstand, not inside the room. Tonight, I placed it in the hallway, on the floor, facing my bedroom door. The camera lens pointed directly at it, so if the door moved again, I would finally see it. I closed the bedroom door carefully, slower than usual. I pushed it until the latch clicked. I even pulled the handle once, just to be sure it was fully closed. Then I walked through the apartment one more time. Front door, locked. Deadbolt, chain, handle check, twice. Windows, closed, locked. Kitchen, bathroom, closet, every room, everything sealed. Nothing inside the apartment except me. At least, that's what I told myself. I went back to bed. The hallway was dark. The phone camera was already recording. The time on my screen now says 3:13 a.m. 1 minute. Just 1 minute until the time everything started before. I didn't even try to sleep. I just watched the door. The room was silent, the kind of silence where every small sound feels too loud. The building felt empty. No neighbors, no pipes, no elevator, nothing. Then the time changed. 3:14, and the hallway light turned on. Instantly, like someone stepped directly under it. But the door didn't open, not this time. It stayed closed. For a moment, nothing happened. The lights stayed on, bright, shining under the thin gap of the door. I sat up in bed, watching, waiting. And then I saw something that made my stomach drop. The door wasn't opening. It wasn't even shaking. It was bending. Slowly, very slightly, but enough to notice. The wood in the center of the door was flexing, inward, toward me, like pressure was being applied from the other side. But that was impossible, because the other side was the hallway, and the hallway was empty. The camera was there, recording everything. There was nowhere for someone to hide, but the door kept bending, just a little more. The wood creaked, not the hinges, not the handle, the door itself. Like something heavy was pressing against it. From the inside, from my side, inside the bedroom, where I was. I froze, my eyes locked on the door, my mind trying to understand what I was seeing. Because if the door was bending inward, then something was pushing it from inside the room. But I was the only one inside the room. And then, a loud impact, a sudden crash. The hallway camera fell. The phone must have been knocked over. The video feed went black instantly. But the recording didn't stop. The audio kept going. For a few seconds, there was nothing. Just the faint sound of the hallway light buzzing. Then something else. A sound that didn't belong in my apartment. A step. One slow step. Heavy, deliberate. Inside my bedroom. The floorboards creaked, close to the bed, closer than the door. Another second passed, and then another sound. The bedroom door. The latch moved, metal sliding. The sound of the lock turning. From the other side. Like someone had just stepped into the hallway and locked the door behind them, locking me inside. There were no more footsteps, no breathing, no movement, just silence. Complete silence. The kind of silence that feels watched. The camera never showed what entered the room, because when it fell, the screen went black. But the audio recording is still there, still saved on the phone. And if you listen carefully, right before the lock turns, you can hear something else. A second breath. Not mine. Very close to the microphone. As if whoever stepped into my room leaned down next to the phone and listened.